Mitra, we are live now.
Hello and welcome to the second day of InTech South Asia's Interactive Business Forum. Today, we have with us Martin Cieslik, the Chief Marketing Officer, Head of Marketing and Sales at Hohenstein from Germany. He will speak on ensuring credibility and customer confidence for sustainable manufacturing around the world. Martin's focus is on serving brands, retailers, and manufacturers in all major textile manufacturing and consuming countries. Before joining Hohenstein, Martin was a project manager for BME Benchmark Services, a subsidiary of the German Association for Materials Management, Purchasing and Logistics. He holds an MBA for Sales Management from Heidelberg University and earlier for Applied Science and a degree in Political Science and International Relations from Technical University Darmstadt. So without further ado, I hand it over to you, Martin.
Thank you for the introduction, and namaste, and thank you for the honor for being here. Shall I share my screen?
Please share your screen.
Can you see the screen, the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction and for the opportunity for us to speak here on the forum about OEKO-TEX. And I would like to introduce Hohenstein and OEKO-TEX today and show how the two organizations are working together, how OEKO-TEX as the standard setting organization is improving sustainability across the textile value chain. Let me briefly start about Hohenstein. You can say Hohenstein is, with its more than 75 years of textile experience, not just a founding member of the OEKO-TEX Association. We are also the executive part, the part who's the operational arm of the OEKO-TEX Association, who is, with our strong core competence in textiles, we are the linkage between the consumers and the environment. And this is the heritage of OEKO-TEX and the heritage of Hohenstein. And it changed over the last year for both organizations from the pure product testing part and product confidence more to more broader sustainability approach. And this is the story I would like to tell you and would like to introduce you today. All in all, our environmental is the textile market. And talking about the textile market, all of us are faced by daily changes. There is different supply chain laws. There's a new supply chain law coming up in the European Union. There are already one in place when it comes to social and labor conditions. From Germany, there is the Anti-Slavery Pact in the UK, and so on and so on. You have different approaches on environmental footprints. If it's product footprinting initiatives you have across the globe, it's transparency in the supply chain. It's a long story of sustainability. What is a reference standard? How can you differentiate? And all these challenges we are facing are added by a new challenge we faced since nearly 1.5 to 2 years is COVID. And the question which arises pretty soon with COVID, also in the Indian retailers on the website, is what is the impact on the fashion, on the textile, on the apparel industry? Is it a driver? Is it something which slows us down? And we, for sure, with the challenges and the impact we saw on global supply chains, which are still real and driving our industry, with the cancellation from different orders we are facing as an industry last year, we also see that there are some small plants growing companies who use the changing market environment and creating new business opportunities, find their way out of a niche to use sustainability as a differentiating aspect to be prepared for, on the one hand, changing and upcoming legislative changes in consumer markets, but on the other hand, more and more the focus of sourcing brands and retailers across the globe who have that more and more as one key element in qualification of their value chains. And if you look at that, and it's so many topics with the rise, and that's my strong belief, they will not go away. It is transparency and traceability. So where are the products coming from? It's a big question which just drives the consumer. When you look on the German market, for example, who made my clothes? Where is it produced, and what are the conditions? So what is the sustainability in the process, in the whole sourcing process, not just in the production process? And for sure, from the B2B perspective, it's more about the efficiency of cost, product structure. So does continuous improvement have a positive impact, not just on sustainability, but also on my own financial assets, on how can sustainability lead to more efficient process to save costs in the end and to be more competitive in the market? And the bracket around that is not just sustainability sourcing as responsible sourcing. It comes to the end question, how we can ensure kind of a proactive consumer safety program. So how can a process be designed that the product is safe in the end and comply with the different industry standards we have in the US, in Germany, in the UK, but also in other markets like India itself, but also across Saudi Arabia and China. So more and more startups are reflecting what might be potential market drivers. And in the end, what we think is the overall perspective of everything as a management perspective is what is the management structure behind how I'm able to manage the risk? How can I assess the risk in my potential supply chain? What are my priorities to change? And how can I use a risk assessment to differentiate in the market, so to market my product in the end? And this is a little bit where I will talk about, because in the end, there is a kind of a label jungle out there. So OEKO-TEX as one standard is one of many on the one hand. So how can I differentiate? What is the advantage of the OEKO-TEX program to step out of these jungle of different labels, and what is the aspect we would like to highlight here? And one of the things I would like to introduce you today is our modular approach. And it started 1992 with two institutes, with Hohenstein and one of our partner institutes, as an initiative to have a proactive product safety program for consumers. It started in Germany, it's expanded to Europe, and now it's a global program. We have offices, contact offices in more than 60 countries. We have more than 160,000 certificates issued since the early beginning. Today, we operate with more than 20,000 companies who are member and user certificate holders in the system. And out of two OEKO-TEX institutes, we are now today 18 independent institutes who serve the OEKO-TEX standard. And this is where it started. And the modular system is split up the supply chain in an input control, in a process control, and an output control. So nothing what you haven't seen before. But what we think is it's like an a la carte menu. It's like, what do you need? What serves your needs? It's not like we say with the OEKO-TEX product, you have to do. What we say is, and what we strongly believe is, this is an offer we have. So if you face challenges, for example, to comply with CDHC initiatives, so it makes sense to look on wastewater streams, to look on chemical management, maybe steps of the process control might be the best solution for you. Or you start quite earlier in the input stream, say, hey, I go with pre-certified chemicals because they give me an advantage. If you are more driven by a market who says, hey, let's look on labeling, consumer facing, ready to communicate to a B2C market, one of the labels, so the output control, might be the better solution. Or in the end, it is a combination of everything. So what we offer is an a la carte menu, which gives you the choice to find a solution, to pick a solution which fits in your own strategy, in your own internal programs, and give you a comprehensive stewardship program. And if you look in a little bit more in the details of the OEKO-TEX modular program, we also split up when we look on this jacket, just as an example. When we look on products, when we certify products, we test them for harmful substances, but it's really like a modular system. When you look on the product, you have so much components. It's here like some elements like the lining, the bottom, the outer material, finishing, zippers, whatever. Some examples around here. And what we offer is that you go deep in your supply chain and say, I request an OEKO-TEX certificate for my sewing thread, for my yarn, whatever it is, and it builds up. So when I have pre-certified materials, I'm already on a higher level in terms of supply chain control, and a higher level of quality assurance program. And this is the linkage to the risk assessment. I'm minimizing the risk that I might have in the final product, a potential risk of not complying with governmental and industry standards. So it helps you to, one hand, keep the costs low, but on the other hand, to minimize the risk in your supply chain to have products which in the end cannot be sold to a consumer market. And this is what we initiated Standard 100. And we are a little bit proud that we are one of the first RSLs ever created in the market. And still the OEKO-TEX Standard 100 remains as one of the leading RSLs in the market, as a reference for different industry initiatives. And it helps also in terms of through this modular system, through the combination of raw materials to a finished garment to the end consumer, also as a traceability tool. With tools we have in the background and we offer as a B2B solution with my OEKO-TEX and so on, we not only assure legal compliance, we also give the opportunity to track back where the product is coming from. And we will invest in this more and more time because there are more and more inquiries for that. And to go a step beyond that and say, okay, traceability is key. And if you want to have a comprehensive analysis of what is behind traceability, what is behind my supply chain, we created Made in Green as a standard, which combines the elements of Standard 100 with elements with STEP. I will come to that in a second, which is focusing more on the product. So it is a combination of a certification program of product and process sustainability and analysis. And it combines that and by showing transparency, not so where is it produced and how is it produced. And I think that's the key for the future, and where we see a lot of interest in the market as a very innovative consumer-facing label, that we say, okay, this is the next level, this is what we want to achieve. And it can be also combined not just with the Standard 100, also if you have a leather product. So it is a combination also of certified leather products under this leather standard by OEKO-TEX. So it's a combination, and it is a ready to communicate consumer label in the end, which is our answer to the needs I claimed in one of the first slides today. And besides the traceability, in this element, it also is driven by the market. And if you look here on the growing numbers from the left side to the middle, you see there is more and more consumer, there's more and more need, and more brands and retailers are asking for that label, because you see with the QR code on the picture here, that with the QR code, we have the ability to show off where does the product come from. So we have a very low hurdle between the consumer and the product to really identify where it's coming from. The IT is managed from our side in the background, and it's besides the Standard 100, or by far strongest consumer label, and it's becoming more and more important in the consumer markets. And in the background, if you go back to a more technical level, so what is happening behind Made in Green on the more technical side is this sustainable textile and leather production program. It's STEP by OEKO-TEX, and it covers 6 elements. And you see them here in the circle, where we highlight that the combination of chemical management, environmental performance and environmental management, health and safety, social responsibility, and quality management. This is our key, our solution, this kind of modular system, to approach and tackle the different challenges you face around sustainability. And we do this in a step-by-step program, which is nicely fitting to the name, in terms of we offer you a self-assessment, we qualify the self-assessment afterwards together with you. We do an on-site audit to verify is the self-assessment, so what's typed in on the desk side, is this reflecting the reality, and we come up with a continuous improvement plan, and then we go from there. In the background, there are some measurements which show what kind of performance level you have. We have 3 different performance levels, but the key element we believe in is that with our self-assessment, we give guidance in terms of what is already there. If you have ISO certificates, other sustainability accreditations, or occupational health and safety certificates, if you hold these kind of certificates already, we acknowledge that in the system. It reduces partly also the amount of questions which needs to be answered, but also it reflects what you already achieved and give it a kind of an umbrella around what you already did, and makes you part of the OEKO-TEX system, which can lead in the end, if this is requested, to the consumer-facing label of Made in Green. And we think that the combination of evaluation and continuous improvement is a key element into one of the terms I said earlier, to become more efficient, to show off what I've done, how processes are improved, which will enable in the end not just to make, to create a Made in Green label, but also will allow users of the STEP and Made in Green approach to approach new markets and make products which are produced on their high standards visible to different markets. And if you go back about visibility to different markets, we have of one side, we have our buying guide. Our buying guide is online. If you look for the buying guide, it's our publicly available and free available sourcing platform. You will find all the OEKO-TEX certified materials and suppliers there. You can look for it through different search options like country-wise or type of operation-wise or product-wise. So if you look for some toddler articles, you will find them there, or so on and so on. And with the Eco Passport system, which I introduced earlier, when it comes to the OEKO-TEX chemical management system, when it comes to input chemical verification, we also have the linkage to the CDHC platform, which is similar to what we have with our buying guide, but is a different audience there. So also there, we make sure whenever you are part of the OEKO-TEX programs, that you can show off your engagement to brands and retailers whenever it's possible. It's one of our tasks to enable also our certificate holders to make themselves visible to sourcing organizations, to buying organizations, because I think that's one of the elements of how we define partnership to change the market step by step, and that our programs together with you will help to create a better market environment. And the Eco Passport impact is focusing on the input chemistry, and it's a combination which allows chemicals not just to be certified, it is verifying with different RSL if the product is already compliant. Just on the ingredient level, there is a screening approach, but also in the end with lab verification, where we are checking for impurities, if the product is ready to market. And with this pre-assessment, we will help to close the gap between the garment and the chemical industry to really speed up the time to market process. Because what we strongly believe is that we slowly see a shift to a stronger input stream control, so that you have a process stream which allows you to qualify product quality so much earlier in the process. And I think this is something what we also see in a shift in the industry, because back in the days we tested very late, products are already shipped and so on and so on. And in the end, it's waste of money. So the earlier test, the better you have your process under control. We strongly believe that this is a clear advantage. And here we created also a transparency tool in the background which links the chemicals to the product you produce, and which can be certified then afterwards with the standard 100. But it will really avoid failures in the later process, because if you don't use an azo in the chemicals in your input stream, you don't have to test for azos afterwards. It doesn't make any sense anymore to test and test and test and just raise the test costs. It's really focusing on a strong process control, and this is what we are looking here, and this is why the EcoPassport is added to the modular system, because it's one of element where we believe this is a future of the quality assurance programs we will see across the globe in our industry. And I mentioned it earlier with the buying guide, and that's a little bit closing here, is really helping to promote what kind of chemicals we have already certified, and gives you the opportunity collaboration and partnership. And on the other perspective, gives an opportunity for sourcing and buying to identify, okay, who is already there? Is there a company already close to me? Is one of my suppliers already pre-certified? How can I validate that? And the buying guide is a super reference for this. And it allows you on the other way around to advertise products, to advertise your chemicals, to advertise what you have, because it's the free available platform in the internet. And we, on our platform hosted, we validate in the background that only certificate holders can advertise their products there. But we see it more and more that a brand and converter is looking for a dedicated product, and we always reference to the buying guide, say, this is the platform, these are pro certified, these are our partners, please approach them. This is what I highlight all the time, that buying guide is one of the key elements of OEKO-TEX, because it makes the system visible to the market, to a B2B market. And it's also a linkage to the CDHC gateway. And what you see here with the X in the left lower side of the slide, it's really that there is no way, if it's not passing the hurdle, there is no way into the buying guide, or in the end, the transfer to the CDHC gateway. But that's not happening in the background. So what we really make sure that also only products who pass the hurdle, either in this EcoPassport system or standard 100 and so on step, will go through the buying guide. So we also look for more and more materials in the future. So recycled materials is one element which we added to the program, as well as organic. So we will do more in terms of consumer communication in the next years to come. What we did with the standard 100 by acknowledging organic cotton is also that we added a test, a laboratory test to the program to make sure that the products are also screened on a qualitative standard, and also we will add in the future a quantitative method to really say, okay, what is the amount of maybe an impurity of non-GMO free cotton in the final product. So this is to come, and this is closing the loop of sustainability. And what we think, if come to the end of my presentation, how Hohenstein and OEKO-TEX together hand in hand are shaping the future of sustainability. It is, when we look on consumer markets, sustainability is not a trend. It's something which will not go away. And you see here references to different industry studies. One is from Germany that would say that more than 70% of the fashion manufacturers say it is something, this is the most important thing at the time. And it was a little bit before Corona, but if you look at current interviews we had and discussions, it's not going away, and it will definitely help us. And KPMG, the big consultancy firm, also highlighted that in their projection for 2030, that this is stepping out of the niche and becoming a more and more mass market. And we saw that in the food sector, and we will see that in all consumer good sectors, and textile industry is driving that, because we saw that it could help us in the post-detox campaign phase, and it really helps. And what it's honoring us is that the majority of suppliers really trust OEKO-TEX, and that's something which I think is also proof from the industry that with our program, we are on the right path and we're delivering the right answers. And for us, the OEKO-TEX Association has their agenda for sustainability, for sustainability development, and it's a combination of confidence of where we come from. The confidence in textile was the slogan back in the past, and we added sustainability and responsibility to that to also match several UN sustainability development goals, because we think it's also time that OEKO-TEX is contributing to these overall goals, which are driving so many initiatives around the globe driven by the United Nations. I'm not saying that. I mean, I was lovely introduced as a political sign. Back in the days, I was that. So, but I'm not saying that with this background. I'm really saying that because I believe that the UN development goals here for sustainability will make a difference and are some guiding principles and a reference for all of us. And in the end, they also link to sustainability world, which is beginning with greener chemistry. So with the Eco Passport, with the qualification program there, that's one element. But we will see more and more chemistry through collaboration, which is heading more in the green chemistry way. We will see more evaluation of microplastics, of other impurities which come out the textile value chain, because it is an impact on the planet. It is also the linkage to wastewater analysis, because you have a lot of effluent water which has a contamination of microplastics. And there are more and more questions, what happens with the material after usage? So how can we as OEKO-TEX and as Hohenstein contribute to biodegradation, to close the loop of circular economy, and by verifying materials, or more looking on the materials. So all these elements are our part of the strategy of sustainability. That's just a little bit a glance of it, besides the OEKO-TEX system. And this is one of my latest or my last slides to just show how we think, what we do, and what we offer. And I think I hope this was a good introduction of what Hohenstein is providing. And if you would like to stay in contact, I would highly recommend and invite you to our Hohenstein Academy. It's also available in English language, and it's your deep dive to different elements of e-learning. There are free courses which are about different types of textile industry, sustainability, different material qualification, and so on and so on. So we will invite you, and we're looking forward to have you there. And that was my closing remark on the short presentation on sustainability and how OEKO-TEX and Hohenstein will contribute to that.
Thank you very much, Martin. That was a very insightful presentation. We have a question from an interested viewer which we would like to ask you. And the question is that, well, we are aware that sustainable manufacturing is slowly being adopted in South Asia. At the same time, South Asia is a very cost and price sensitive region. So can sustainable manufacturing be cost effective, keeping this region, keeping South Asia in mind?
Yes, for sure. We strongly believe that. And what we are doing at the moment is we launched in a couple of months ago a program which is more looking into the KPI sector of a textile manufacturing process and provide users of the STEP program with industry references in terms of water use for a dyeing process, just as a simple example. And we believe that having these kind of benchmarking, so similar companies in similar regions, similar setup, will help to say, okay, what are the measurements I have to take to achieve industry level or industry benchmark level, or even improve. And with our technical team locally, we will help you. That's part of our guidance to achieve that. And I think with dealing more and more with KPIs, being more and more KPI-driven industry, this will all help us. But we need this kind of data to benchmark each other and to say, okay, what is an industry reference? And I think from the discussions we had also pre-corona, that more and more companies and industry associations are driving these KPI approach. There are different ideas and very bright ideas in the market. We are not the only one doing that. And I think this will all help us, because this is something you can measure, and what you can measure, you can manage.
That's right. That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Sustainability is the future. Compliances are increasing in terms of sustainability, and Hohenstein is the one you can connect with to take your sustainability and compliances forward. We're out of time for the Q&A session, but I definitely would like to thank Martin for taking
Thank
time
you.
out to present at Intex South Asia Interactive Business Forum. And I'd also like to thank all of you who have attended this seminar today. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day to all of you.
Bye-bye.